Greetings. My name is Catherine Fleming Bruce. I'm a doctoral student at the University of South Carolina, studying mass communications and information studies in the United States, Columbia, South Carolina. Greetings to all members of UNESCO, of the United Nations, of institutions, and educators from around the world who are present at this conference. Thank you for inviting me to be a part. My remarks today focus on the utility of media literacy in creating a public sphere both for the national and for the global level, and a sphere that is harmonious with the values articulated at the global level. Public institutions such as libraries and schools are all part of a governance structure, and as such, their provision of information must be engines for improving governance. Jürgen Habermas's 1962 public sphere concept is a critical and lasting conference idea that we've discussed, but it must be expanded in light of governance at the global level. Vital components to this new global governance and to the global sphere are accountability and moral legitimacy. Media literacy does provide that all citizens have the information, both at the national and the global level, to participate in decision-making processes, but it must also hold its leaders accountable for the decisions that they make, as well as providing access to information. While global forums, such as the one put on by the United Nations and UNESCO for the World Summit for the Information Society, provided an increase in civil society participation, there are still many societies where individuals are calling for additional reform. We have seen this as part of the Arab Spring. We're seeing it now in Egypt and other parts of the world. It has also migrated to the U.S. through protests in Wisconsin and the national and also global movement that started with the Occupy Wall Street movement in New York. These grounds here in South Carolina are the grounds of the South Carolina State House, the seat of government for the entire state. And from October through November, for more than 100 days, these grounds were the site of the Occupy Columbia movement, where students, individuals from all walks of life, all races, basically occupy these grounds 24 hours a day with conversations of equity, of financial stability, and the idea of creating a new form of politics where everyone could be involved. So even in states, nation states where there are democratic processes in play, there's still much room for improvement. And media literacy was very much used by these individuals, not only in receiving information, but in creating their own information. They provided their own website, their own live streams of meetings that they had to demonstrate their political process. They were covered by local, state, national, and global media, but they also created their own media. They created their own education processes. They brought books, had a small library here, and involved people in training sessions. So the media literacy idea is very closely connected to these movements in terms of educating and liberating the community and making them part of a new civil society. So how do we use media literacy to transform the public sphere, to create a scenario and a situation where we do have transformation in society, and that media reform is part of a increased utility that media literacy can provide. I posit that the German model that was provided by Habermas, while enduring concept, must be expanded in order to make sure that citizens do have accountability and legitimacy in their governments. This must be articulated both at the national and at the global level. The core democratic values, equality, justice, human rights, are all an outcome that are desirable through media literacy. And the work that institutions are doing must result in that outcome. We do have positive global rule makers like UNESCO that do expand these values, but other global institutions have been challenged at the global level. Institutions like the World Trade Organization. Everywhere they have gone, there has been some protest in order that citizens may hold them accountable and may be part of the process of decision making. There are, of course, also an increased number of platforms by which individuals may participate. Thanks to technology, we can participate in this forum. Even though I was not able to be with you in Moscow, we're able to be a part by videotaping, live streaming, posting videos to YouTube and other forums. We also have a Facebook page with the media literacy platform, and has already gained some members who are now part of your assemblies. So they're able to continue their dialogue after the forum is over through that platform. So that engagement is possible. And again, citizens who have benefited from media literacy programs must be able to participate in their local governments, in their national governments, in the decision-making process, being fully informed not only of decisions after they're made, but how those decisions are made as well. Legitimacy within these systems of governance is very important. It is critical. And echoes for such legitimacy have been seen and continue to be seen not only in countries like Egypt and Syria, but also here in the U.S., as the President of the United States is going to be chosen in a few months. The information that they provide and the transparency that they present is going to be critical to which of these are chosen during the election process. One question that we may pose that's vital to the nature of media literacy and its connection to governance is whether or not a deliberation process can be a substitute for the democratic process. We have an assembly of experts here from around the world, and many scholars believe that these experts in their deliberation is sufficient at the global level, where we cannot vote for individuals who are making decisions at that level. Having a group of experts deliberating for us is acceptable. Can that be acceptable? Can it be sufficient for those individuals who are educated and have benefited from media literacy to participate in dialogue without being accountable to others? I submit that there is a way to push beyond this straitjacket. I believe the best way to go beyond the dialogues of expert leadership, those who have benefited from media literacy and are at the forum participating, is to have a combination of praxis and emancipation. Praxis and emancipation as outcomes for any forum in which media literacy is a part. Praxis is a Aristotle form. Aristotle has suggested that praxis means thought and action. So in order to have these two together, the intentionality must be there to create not only thought but action. And also emancipation is the other critical component of all forums that we are part of. If media literacy is to have a successful outcome, it must have an emancipating, a freeing, and a liberating outcome for citizens in order for the process to be legitimate. In other words, a dialogue cannot be simply a safety valve for self-expression. It must provide a greater action that provides freedom for the community. And finally, Gadamer, who is a scholar of philosophy, provides a final insight that will be useful to media literacy practitioners. The idea of the fusion of horizons. We're seeing that today in this forum, where individuals from around the world have come together to exchange ideas. We saw it recently in Rio. We'll see it in further UN summits. These same forums are being practiced at the national level, and those fusions of horizons are critical to an open process, critical to an outcome where everyone is being heard, where there's an inclusionary value. So in order for the fusion of horizons to take place, media literacy must demand not only provision of information, but a reception of information among all parties who are participating in a forum to create a common value and a common outcome between the public sphere at the national level, here at home in my country, in your country, and also when we come together at the global sphere where decisions are made that impact all of us. So I appreciate the opportunity to make these comments, and I'm proud to be a representative of the University of South Carolina, greeting you from the State House in Columbia, South Carolina. Thank you very much.